Previously on Back to Basics.
You know, for that first day, it's really, I do a lot of different exercises, but it's just so that people understand, hey, this is movement. This is what we can do, and this is how those movements relate to snowboarding.
It was very basic, but a lot of information and a lot of quality information. And I didn't always know why he was teaching me the things I did. I didn't ask questions because he's the coach, I'm the student.
So after the first day, it's a lot of content, it's a lot of information. You teach someone every single range of motion, but for Brent, he really wanted to tap into not only the movements and what those outcomes that they would create, but also how you use those basic outcomes to create bigger things. I knew for a fact that day 2, we were gonna need to isolate and focus on some very simple tasks.
I was actually more excited the second day because, you know, I had between the first day and the second day, I'd had some time to ride on my own and feel more comfortable just on the board, on the snow. So when we got off, we got the Funitel and decided, okay, we're gonna go down to this lift and catch a ride up and then we'll start up there. It was kind of cool. It kind of made me feel good because I felt like you guys trusted me enough to let's go do this stuff, and maybe we're gonna go do something more challenging. As far as expectations go, you know, I definitely was looking forward to doing some real riding, not on the bunny slope, and learning some real skills and getting a little more technical that second day.
I based day 2 for the most part on what the questions that I had with Brent of what some of his experiences were like, some of the things that he wants to overcome.
So between the first and second day, you know, I'd gone out with some friends that I've met in the area, and they've taken me on some of the more challenging terrain that the mountain had to offer, which I had no success on. So coming into that, you know, some of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to get more comfortable with speed. I wanted to be able to tackle more challenging terrain and just do it more comfortably and just enjoy myself more.
So I want to do a couple exercises with you today to kind of connect you to things that are going to really develop the ability to ride flat and fast, but also the ability to control your speed anytime you need to.
Perfect.
Sound good? So let's actually strap in. Our first task we're going to do today is just traversing across the hill.
So we get out and we get to the top of the lift, and my first task is traversing. And that's what we worked on. And actually the first thing we did was just as far as traversing was toe side. And I remember that was the first time I felt like snowboarding felt like surfing.
So across this, what I want us to do is essentially work that traverse. When I saw you coming across, you had mentioned one comment. That comment was this
felt like
sweet.
surfing.
Yeah, it felt like surfing, right? So what we can do is I want us just to hold that traverse and focus on just pumping the legs. You comfortable doing that?
Yeah, why not?
Cool. And since we're just getting warmed up today, this is a great exercise to get the blood flowing, and we're working in that vertical range of motion.
What I wanted to do was give him something that would give him a tactic to approach that terrain so that he's gonna have success in that terrain, but also give him the fundamentals of really, again, movements as he's sliding on a snowboard that create an outcome. One of those things is, hey, if someone has the ability to ride across the hill and not get sucked down the fall line, that's one huge check off the list. The other is, if I can do that while moving up and down and maintaining balance. So right out the gate, he started getting that natural pumping going on. He started to feel the flex of the board. You know, he's drawing into real performance in the equipment.
So what we were doing is kind of doing this flexion extension, right? We're trying to keep our head and our hips all in one line. Now I want us to feel this ability to rotate. So as you come up, I want you to rotate. There you go. See how your board naturally starts to want to move? If I do that at enough intensity, it naturally will kick me all the way around. So try that. Cool. Cool. Let's rotate back the other direction. So from here, when I come up, I'm actively wanting to flatten this board, this back foot to the ground. The tail of the board is going to brush down the hill, and then I'm going to set my new edge into the traverse. So let's try that again. What's going to create that is I'm here on my edge, I'm gonna raise up. As I raise up, I'm flattening and rotating. Cool? Nice. We're gonna let the tail sweep down below us, rotating with the hips. Sweet, that's it. Leg, roll up. There you go. See how that is the moment you do that, you time those things together, it all wants to come around.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna rotate the hips as I come up. So that's the move. A little bit of an intensity with it, and it just rolls right to the toes. Try that out. There you go, right to the toes.
He's maintaining balance. He's feeling the ability to cut loose of that edge, change into a different direction of travel, while still maintaining that traverse across the hill. So his body's rotating. He's getting the feeling of releasing the edge, not catching the edge, and re-engaging the edge. It creates balance. It makes him forced to be centered. I think that over the couple runs we did with that, it was really cool to see him start to open up to this freedom on the snowboard of, wow, now I can go any direction at any time.
So it's kind of like just small exercises that I'm doing that eventually, once they become second nature, I can blend them together to have, a great ride.
In this exercise, you're already blending these ranges of movement together to create a specific outcome, but it creates much more than that specific outcome. You're developing a muscle memory so that, hey, I'm giving you a tactic so that you'll have success. You can change direction at any time, while not allowing gravity to just pull you down the hill.
He naturally started to load to the front foot and share that kind of that pressure build and how he actually liked that sensation. So a very reactionary approach for me was then taking the next step and saying, cool, if we really load and pressure that front foot, you can, be able to start to build pressure in the board, start to, really increase how fast your board rotates, but also start to pop off the snow. I could see that he really wanted to do it, but his mindset changed from focusing on the movements to achieve the outcomes into, I want to do that outcome, I'm going to do everything I can to achieve it. And I think that if you really watch him, you can see that mental change, and how he approached the task. So then once I saw him do that, I then kind of backed it off again. I kind of found the limit as far as the tasks I wanted to go for that day. Even though that, hey, we focused on one task with a number of variables in it, right? We're gonna do a traverse, but then we're gonna build things off of that traverse. I think that even that second day started to get a little too complex.
He was telling me, okay, now we're gonna do this. This is why we're doing it. I remember asking on the chairlift, like, why are we doing this? What is the purpose of me traversing high up the hill? And the answer was to help you handle steeper terrain. And as I got into steeper terrain throughout the day, and since I've rode with Doug the last time, I noticed how it helps, because if I start feeling out of control, I know I can kind of fall back on that without having to fall on my bum and tumble down the mountain.
So how was that for you today?
Oh, it was great. It was good to learn something new. I went out maybe 4 or 5 times after the last, the first time ever, for me, and was feeling better, focusing on what you taught me. And then today, it's like nice to have new stuff to work on. I definitely didn't master it today, but I will by the next time we meet. And it's good to have just something to work on. So it was a lot of fun, and a great time out here.
Well, and I think if you look at it as in, focus on these simple little tasks, right? I focus on a traverse while I flex and extend. I focus on a traverse, using that flexion extension to release the board and doing a little 180. Those simple things are what's gonna build your greater ability to ride. So after you warm up a little bit, come into new terrain, always feel free to use those tasks as a tactic to approach the terrain. But also, those are what's gonna develop that muscle memory, get those neurons firing, so that you're actually developing the skills and the mileage you're gonna need to be able to take your riding to the next step. I think for the rest of the today, maybe you and I just get after some fresh terrain that you haven't ridden before.
Can you keep up?
I can try. Cheers.
Let's do it.
What I saw with Brent when we took that free ride run was someone that by just a short amount of time exercising specific ranges of motion and getting that repetition and becoming aware of, hey, this movement creates this, and this movement creates that he started to really connect to being more in tune with the terrain. And I had, you know, such an amazing run, that last run, watching him, because I could start to see him see a bank and start to see like the terrain a little bit differently and start to use the terrain. And, you know, we're using it as artists expressing and moving around the mountain as we really envision in our heads. So I thought that day was, you know, really for him an opportunity to start to see the mountain like that. So for me, it's, you know, that's the biggest satisfaction.
Next time on Back to Basics.
You know, Brent had a little bit of a hard fall a day earlier.
You know, I was a little bit reluctant. It was the first day out on the snow since I had hurt myself. And at first I was a little scared. If I went down, it'd be kind of the end of my day.
It definitely affected how he was feeling, and he really showed that there was going to be some discomfort.